everyone. I'm Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey. I am on behalf of 58 of Florida's 67 sheriffs. I'm honored to stand today beside the 46th governor of the great state of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what a law and order governor looks like. And as each of the sheriffs standing here with us today will tell you, this is what a real governor looks like, who cares more about the safety of his citizens, his cops, and his country's constitution than he does about hurting the feelings of a criminal or someone who wants to foolishly go soft on crime. And yes, this right here is what a governor looks like, that is not afraid to step up on the ledge and lead his state to be the most freedom-loving state in the United States of America. The sheriff standing here with us today, and a few who could not attend today's event because of scheduling conflicts, recognize that Governor DeSantis' support of law enforcement is why Florida's crime rate is going down, while the rest of the country faces crime rates that are rising at alarming levels. Today, more than ever before, people are moving their families, their homes, and their businesses to Florida. They are moving to our great state because they know that with Governor DeSantis at the helm, they will be safe. They can have a great education in our schools. They have amazing opportunities to grow their businesses. They can enjoy our beautiful beaches. And the only thing that is forced upon them is freedom. For those of us standing here who proudly wear this badge, we know that our governor stands with us in the fight against illegal immigration. Our governor stands with us to combat the opioid epidemic that is taking its toll on every community in America. And our governor is working hard every day to help us recruit and retain the finest law enforcement officers in the country. That's real American leadership. And folks, that's a real law and order governor. That's what they look like. And that's why all of us are standing strong and proud with Governor DeSantis as he stands strong and proud to protect all of us here in the state of Florida. It is now my honor to introduce Clay County Sheriff Michelle Cook, who is going to share with us her own personal reasons for standing strong with Governor DeSantis.
Good morning. My name is Michelle Cook, and I am honored to be the Sheriff of Clay County. One of the greatest challenges facing our country today is the ever-increasing resignation and retirement rate of experienced law enforcement officers. The threat of vocal, anti-cop radicals coupled with stagnated wages can force even the most dedicated officer to reconsider his or her career path. While some politicians have chosen to remain silent or even lend their voice to those demanding the defunding of police, Governor Ron DeSantis has shown his support for law enforcement in a tangible way. Thanks to Governor DeSantis, every sworn officer in the great state of Florida recently received a $1,000 bonus, and the governor has indicated his support to provide additional incentives to help attract new officers to Florida and help retain those who already serve here. This type of support not only helps our officers financially, but it increases morale as Florida officers recognize that our governor has our backs. Governor DeSantis, thank you for your continued commitment to supporting Florida law enforcement and for giving our officers the tools that they need to better serve their communities. Now, before I introduce the next speaker, I would ask you to be especially encouraging and kind to him. He is a bit of an introvert and does not often speak in a public setting. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my sincere honor to introduce to you a fine sheriff and a great man, Sheriff Grady Judd of Polk County.
Thank you, Sheriff. I got up early this morning. I've taken several deep breaths. I think I can make it through this. It's truly my honor to be the sheriff from the state of Florida. You know, leadership starts with the governor. Leaders start from the front of the pack. We've seen far too many leaders in government across this nation who wanted to be politically correct, who wanted to be followers, not leaders. When you look at Portland, Oregon, you look at Seattle, Washington, you look at Baltimore and Chicago, you say, why is crime up? Why is the fear of crime through the roof? Why is there panic? It's because who they elect to local office, who allows that to occur, who does not support law enforcement officers. Ladies and gentlemen, when you saw the burning in Portland, you didn't see that here. When you saw the burning in the big cities across the United States, you didn't see that here. What you saw was a governor who stepped up And he said, not in Florida. As a result, in the last 2 years, 48,000 people have moved to my county alone. And as I move through the people of the community, they say, Sheriff, there's 2 reasons I moved to Florida. I was going to retire and I didn't know where to go other than I'm in Polk County. You know why? It's because Governor DeSantis and Grady Judd. I'll bet you each of these sheriffs standing here today can tell you the same story. Sheriff, we moved to your county because of you and Governor Ron DeSantis. You're safe in Florida. Why people in Portland, Oregon, and Seattle are waking up wondering if their cars are in the driveway, whether they're going to have a burglary, whether you're going to be assaulted. When you wake up in Florida, you go, I have a day off. Let's see, Disney World or the beaches? That's the difference. You know, I've got to tell you, beyond and to the exclusion of every doubt, I've been in law enforcement my entire adult career. And we've had good leaders in Florida. And we have good leaders in Florida. But we've never had a governor like we have today that goes out on the edge and says, I'm the defender of all the people in the state of Florida. I'm going to make sure there's a safe environment and you feel safe so that you can prosper. And that's what happens in Florida. But it doesn't happen without the leader at the head of all leaders in the state. It is my honor to introduce to you my governor, Ron DeSantis, and the governor of the state of Florida.
Thank you. Well, thanks so much. The sheriffs here in the state of Florida are absolutely outstanding. Every single community in Florida, the sheriffs play a very special role. Obviously, they're there to protect the public, but people look at their sheriffs for guidance. They respect them, and they are some of the most important constitutional officers we have in our entire state. And so I'm honored to be able to be here today and accept the support of so many of Florida sheriffs. And Sheriff Judd mentioned it. You look around the country, it's a much different picture where we see crime absolutely skyrocketing through the roof. That didn't just happen by accident. You know, that happened because you had communities across the country, particularly over the last couple years, who turned their back on law enforcement, who took funding away from law enforcement, and the result was predictable, that you gave criminals the upper hand, and you see crime skyrocketing out of control. You also see prosecutors who've been elected in places throughout this country, in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, in other cities in the United States, who believe that they should just not prosecute certain crimes. And so if you're in San Francisco, they just go rob the stores. If you don't rob over 1,000, then you're able to just rob your local retail store. That has no place in the state of Florida. And so we're proud to be able to be here standing shoulder to shoulder with law enforcement. And you know, when they were having that big debate about defunding law enforcement, that was obviously something I spoke out about. We actually passed a law in Florida that said, we're not going to let local government defund law enforcement. We'll put the money back in. They try to do that here. And that was an important debate. And so when we then turned to do bonuses last year, while everybody else was seemingly in these big areas were trying to cut, the people that got those bonuses, which is every sworn law enforcement officer in the state of Florida, they obviously, everyone wants the money. I mean, like, it's not like you're getting wealthy being in law enforcement. You know, these are people that are having to make ends meet. And so that made a difference. But they were much more happy about it because it showed that the state of Florida had their back. To be able to get a check from the state of Florida saying, thanks for standing on that wall for us, we're here to support you, made all the difference. And so in those communities where they're cutting law enforcement funding, of course that's not good, but what makes it even worse is the signal that it sends. They are not supported in those communities. So why the hell are you gonna risk your life when you're not gonna have any support from the community and from the political leadership? In Florida, we recognize people who are risking their lives to be able to protect the public, and we've got your back, and we'll continue to have your back. And you know, it's fine to say that And honestly, just saying that is better than what a lot of these elected officials have been doing over the past couple years. But you also have to take actions to show that you mean it. And yes, we've done that, whether it was preventing the defunding of local law enforcement, whether it's increasing penalties for rioters that attack law enforcement, whether it was the $1,000 bonuses. And as good as all that stuff is, we've really only just begun. Right now in the legislative session, the Florida House is working on a bill that's incorporating what I had suggested last year and even building upon it. So yes, we want $5,000 signing bonuses for anybody who's qualified from out of state to come in, or for people that are new to the profession in state, because we want this to be a profession that people can be proud of. And in Florida, by giving those $5,000 bonuses, yes, it's good financially for these folks, but we're telling you we're doing this because you're entering a noble endeavor. And we support what you're doing. We're also looking to have law enforcement academy scholarships for people. We do great programs like Bright Futures. If you want to go to the University of Florida, Florida State, UNF, great. I'm a big supporter of that. But let's give the support for people who are going in this different path. And so I think that's going to be something that's going to make a big difference. And we're going to be defraying the costs up to $1,000 for people that are transferring and out of state. Any type of certification training, we'll be able to reimburse those. And give the legislature credit. They've not only taken what I had advocated for, they're actually adding to it. In the state of Florida, under the bill that's currently in front of the Florida House, any law enforcement family will be able to access our family empowerment school choice scholarships. You know, those are mostly targeted for lower income families, as well they should be. But you know, if you're in law enforcement, it ain't like you're high on the hog. You know, you're not poor, but you're not high on the hog. Opening those scholarships up is going to be great for a lot of families throughout the state of Florida. The legislature is also recommending and strongly encouraging school districts to have programs in the middle and high schools so that the students can be exposed to careers in law enforcement and learn more about the justice system. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of bad media. There's a lot of people that try to attack law enforcement. So being able to expose our students to what these folks and their deputies go through, as well as the local municipal police departments, I think it's going to cause more people to want to go into it, which is good. But I think even bigger than that, you know, it's really going to make these young people appreciate the sacrifices that go in to supporting our safety. You can have the freest state in the country, and we are that, and you see that. Even the people that criticize Florida for having been open and kids in school, you know, they'll advocate these lockdown policies. Then you find them on the beach in Miami somewhere the minute they get out. You'll have governors who'll lock down their state, and then they end up down here. Mayors have done the same thing. And so people vote with their feet. It's not just the people moving in here. It's some of the biggest critics of the state who still manage to find their way to the state of Florida. And so that is just about respecting the Constitution. It's about respecting people's individual freedoms. And it's about really targeting response to things like COVID, you know, by helping elderly people with medications, vaccines, whatever they needed. That's what we did. But we were not going to deny people the ability to earn a living, or businesses the ability to operate, or kids the ability to be in school in person. And that has been very, very significant. You look at our budget, massive surplus, like we've never seen before. They just increased the estimates over and above what my budget called for. So instead of a $15 billion surplus for this fiscal year, you're going to end up maybe $17 billion surplus. Out of a $100 billion budget, that ain't bad. Imagine if Washington was able to manage the money like Florida was doing. We'd be in a lot better shape. So all that's important. So all of that is important, but none of that would amount to anything if you saw chaos on the streets like you see in Portland and Chicago and some of these other places. You don't have freedom without the rule of law and without people enforcing law and order. And so that is what we're standing for here in the state of Florida. There's a lot of different places around this country that have gone in different directions. Heck, there's people in this state that would love to take our state in different directions. And what we're here to say, standing shoulder to shoulder with some of our great public servants, is not on our watch. We're going to keep this a free state, and we are going to keep this a law and order state. So thank you for your support, and God bless you.